What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld, and I've been getting so many questions about my team overall. You guys have seen me go from like 55,000 coins to 2 million coins. A lot of questions are being asked. I'm going to be breaking it down in several videos to come because everyone is asking about certain things, not only my newcomers, but my veterans as well. And some of you guys are asking, what does it take to be a veteran? All you got to do is come in, comment on all the videos that you see. Just make yourself be known, be a positive, part of the community. Answer some questions that you may see some of our newer viewers have. Refer them to other videos just to help their experience, because yes, during my live streams and certain videos that we do right here on YouTube, I'm going to rage about certain things that go on with the game. But that's because I've been playing Madden for so long and I don't like a lot of the things that they've implemented, but we learn to deal with it. All right, so one of the major things that I've been getting asked about is the overall. How do you increase your overall? What am I doing with the actual chems? What's going on? So pretty much I'm gonna give you guys some insight that's gonna help you increase your overall in like 10 minutes, bro. So just focus on some of the things that I'm gonna go over right now, and you should be all set with everything that needs to be done for your team to also be raised. Now, the one thing that I want to point out to everybody, I want you guys to feel comfortable in telling us what your overall is. My 93 overall team, listen, it doesn't really matter about that number to me as much as the players that are there. Okay, so if you go back to when I first started playing MUT, when attributes were different than they are now, I didn't really care about my overall. You go back to like Madden 15, Madden 25, I just put players that I knew were good for me, for what I wanted in the position, and they all played the way they were supposed to based on the way their attributes were. Unfortunately, those times have changed, okay? In this Madden, and probably going forward, they have implemented certain things to where the attributes, in addition to the overall, will help you dominate the other team that you're playing. So for instance, right? Back in the day, you used to go into some games and, people were like, yo, it's DDA, it's all kind of stuff going on because the team is not playing well, because you would play against a team that wasn't really good and they would like take away your stamina and do all that stuff like that. I haven't seen that this year to where people are just losing stamina for no reason and weird stuff like that, but I have seen better teams just outright dominate lesser teams. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that go on with chemistry. I'm going to be taking a look at a few things right now. All right, specifically on defense, but I just want to show you. You see this pass rush right here? What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look at the way, you see how Brawler is at 10 of 20? The reasoning behind Brawler doing that is because my O-line, they play different by having Brawler on them. All right, so what does Brawler do? Let me go ahead and explain to you guys, and I want you to keep this with everything that you do as far as chemistry goes. I'm using this as an example, and then we're going to go ahead and break down certain things, because little things like this is what's going to get your overall raised very, very fast, and you're going to get these blue icons that some of you guys are asking about for certain players faster than later. You know what I'm saying? Like sooner than later, I may say. All right, so look, the strength, the speed, and the minus excel. Now, when you're losing acceleration, you're going to want to be putting it on people that are already generally slow. Now, my fastest lineman that's on my team right now on the offensive line is Lane Johnson, right? So him losing acceleration doesn't really hurt, because if you look at his numbers, he's still super fast, and he's a really, really good card. And like I told you guys, when I was completing his set early when it first came out, I told you that his price would go down, because primarily it's about getting his other cards and powering him all the way up. That's going to be more expensive. But because there's so many other cards with lower overalls and similar overalls that are just like Lane Johnson, they can't justify his card being as expensive. You got the right tackle from the Saints, a lot of things that are going on. So when you look at Lane Johnson, the only thing that's really ideal for him is that he's super fast, and now he has the impact block and the lead block that makes him just an absolute monster. So you may be asking, okay, the impact block is, I just said impact black. Impact block is 95, and his lead block, as we get down to the bottom, is 94. What do those two things do? Those numbers get him what's called Nasty Streak. For those of you guys that already know about it, you know how Nasty Streak was like OP before. EA patched it. Now you can't lead block a dead cockroach. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes are just, you can hold the block, but you can't really do what you were doing before with the way you were just knocking guys down and pancaking them. So some of you guys have gone away from linemen with those attributes to get other linemen for different reasons. Like, you'll get a guy that's slower but has better pass block or whatever like that. Impact block and lead block are very, very huge. Okay, so now the Brawler for your offensive lineman, that additional strength is going to help boost every single one of these players. So just so you guys understand, the sprinter is taking away strength, but we use that for our skilled players. It's our skill set players. So everything else that you guys are formulating, you have to understand that if it's a skilled player, it's completely separate from what you're doing with these O-line guys. Now, you can go ahead and put sprinter on these guys as well and see what happens. But if you guys have been watching my gameplays and things of that nature, I've been playing a lot of top 100 guys, and they can't really stop what I'm doing. And this is why. Because I'm upgrading them based on what I know works and what the meta is. As much as we want to throw the ball and do other stuff, and you guys are like, yeah, you got to pass. Doing that is stupid, because if you watch competitive Madden, a lot of people that have already won thousands and thousands of dollars, all they do is run the ball. So why should we be any different? This is not a year of Madden where it's like, okay, we need to stop passing the ball more, even though the game is geared towards the run. You're going to lose a lot trying to do something that you don't need to do. Like, there's literally no reason, because if you understand the run game and you run the right plays, you are going to win a lot more games. So that has a lot to do with your overall and increasing it based on certain attributes. So say for instance, right, you don't have all the cards for Lane Johnson. Say you don't, you're starting out. Some of you guys are like, yo, Gmia, I'm an 85 overall team. Then I got my veterans that's like, yo, Gmia, I'm a 95 overall team. So I got all the different parts of the spectrum, but the one thing that we all have in common is we have the right players in place. So say you got him down to this where his heavyweight was necessary, right? You can see that you're missing like +3 speed, his acceleration and all that stuff. But all of that stuff, as you gear your team up, you're going to get similar effects. So all you would do, if you got him to this point where he's a 90, you would make sure that you equipped him with power run. And you had enough people with power run to be able to get him upgraded. He will still get a decent amount, impact block, he'll get additional lead block. You'll be getting the things that amplify how good the player plays. That's all that matters. Okay, it doesn't really matter about the fact that, okay, my guy is a 90 and your guy is a 94. Because once you get the right players in place, they're going to play similar. They're not going to play as good, but they're going to play similar to the way that my player is playing at a higher overall. So what that means is this, right? When we had him at a 90, he wasn't that good. But we left him there because he was fast enough to get out on certain run plays that we were using him with. But he wasn't as good, and it was noticeable. And then sometimes we would have to like sub in other players that had better stats and better chemistries. But ultimately, because of the way that the game is designed, you can just have a lineman out there that has no real good attribute, but he can move fast. Like Lane Johnson, you have the other guy that's also a center. I believe he has a brother in the league also from the Eagles. Those guys, you can get faster linemen that lack certain things that can still play well for you. Okay, so that's the reason that Lane Johnson was kept to begin with. And if you have him at a lower overall and you just add some power run and brawler to him and get at least 10 players with brawler, he's going to play very, very well in the run game. Now his pass protection and stuff like that, you can go ahead and compare him to like, the right tackle from the ultimate kickoff and all that stuff. But I don't really care about that because our primary focus is running the ball. So when you're building and increasing your overall right now, that's what I would like you guys to gear it towards. Everything else that's going on, we're probably going to pass the ball, maybe five times a game, the entire game, because we're trying to see if the guys can stop the run. That's everything that goes on. So that's why when you're building your offensive line and increasing your overall, this is something that I highly recommend. I don't recommend zone run, and I don't recommend the other one that's available with them because they don't do the impact block and the lead block. So everything else that goes on, like when you're looking at this, right? The impact block and the lead block is the most important thing as you build your chemistry up, right? So when you look at all this other stuff, the basic run block, you see the play fake, and these things, the West Coast, they're not doing what's ideal for what works in the game. So as you increase your overall, I would like for you guys to focus on that because I have tremendous success and it's very, very visible with the way that these players play. Now that you guys understand like the kind of gist of like, what makes those blue icons go up and you increase your overall and stuff like that, you can now utilize it based on everything that goes on in the game. Skill positions, the go deep for the faster players. What does that do? Why do I always make sure that I have 30 of 30 to go deep? Because I get beat press for my receivers, I get break sack for my quarterback, I get the additional throw power for when guys come all the way down to stop the run. We can lead pass the ball out. I get the spec catch, I get the deep accuracy for my quarterback, and I get deep route running. So how does that affect my players? That's a very good question. The reason that you want to go deep, when you get pressed into the ground by a corner that's like 2 foot tall, like these little tiny guys they got running around, you're going to need your players to be able to get off the block. Now, don't be deceived. This 96 speed Randy Moss moves like Gary the Snail from SpongeBob because they don't give you the right separation, which is why in certain games you got linebackers just running step for step with Randy Moss. These are the reasons why I don't pass the ball a lot. Because even if somebody presses you, if they're pressing you in a certain situation and it's Randy Moss, they still are able to get back and intercept the ball, which makes absolutely no sense. It's like, realistically, I don't know what's going on and it makes absolutely no sense. It's part of the game, right? But in certain cases, that deep route running, if you run tight, you run deep crossers, you're gonna get different angles, you're gonna get upgraded. Your Randy Moss is gonna be higher rated, all right? Now, we'll be getting a new Randy Moss in like a couple weeks. Once they do the NFL 100, more than likely, we'll also be getting a new TO. Any top receiver you can think about, we're gonna get them. Are we gonna upgrade our players? Yes, we are gonna upgrade them. Are we gonna utilize them? Very, very specific times will we use these players in gameplay, okay? Because again, when it comes to the passing game, it's not smart to just come out and pass the ball. You are gonna throw interceptions and weird things are gonna happen on a regular basis because the game is not designed for passing the ball. And I told you guys this in September. Once the game was tuned, there's realistically nothing they can do to go back away from this meta. All they've done realistically is make the run game stronger with everything that they've done. Doesn't matter if they nerfed this, they nerfed that, they nerfed Nasty Streak. All they've done is made the running game even more OP. That's realistically what has actually transpired here. So going forward right now, right, I'm going to leave you guys with the defensive thing that some of you guys have been asking about. Why don't I use, like instead of having Brawler on Ray Lewis, why don't I use Sprinter? Why, does it really matter defensively like it does with the offensive line? Well, he's upgraded to a 95 right now, primarily because he's getting that additional strength. Similar with Ryan Shazier. You don't really want to take away strength from defensive positions, but in certain cases, I just did it. Like with LT, I don't care. Like I'm giving him that. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care. But other players, like, would it really matter if I made this guy a 91 speed because I have 30 of 30 with Sprinter and he loses the strength? You probably wouldn't notice it in the gameplay. You probably wouldn't notice, that he's getting pancaked all over the place, but it does have an impact. All right, it just depends on how you play the game. I run double A gap, so I need my linebackers to be kind of strong. If I take that away from him, it's probably going to affect him when he's going up against, offensive linemen. Because remember, it's not only your team that knows, that's juice. Like with the tips I'm giving you, some of these other players, they just come out with the best team, so they're gonna get very, very good, impact when they go and run up against these tough guys too. So you're playing against people that may know these things. You don't want to take away from things that'll help you, get off the block and do things like that. Now, will it come a time that I'll say, you know what, I don't care, I'm going all Sprinter? Yeah, but I probably will see differences in the game and would want, for the speed aspect of it, to overtake what's going on with the Brawler. Because the Sprinter, 30 of 30, the one thing that's good about it, it gives us that additional acceleration. So maybe the acceleration can forego the strength. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll get to the player faster because acceleration does actually visibly show. But that's the way that I would utilize it. Like probably with Lawrence Taylor, once I get pass rush to probably 20, he's probably gonna highlight because we're gonna increase, his pursuit and his press. You see what I'm saying? Like certain things are going to happen to the cards. You have to figure out which way you want to go though with it. And then you have to manipulate which guys have lockdown, which guys have pass rush, and things of that nature, because that's going to be something that's huge. Like the lockdown that we use right here, as far as upgrading your team, you need that because that extra zone makes your players play insane. So even if you have a lower overall player, even Night Train Lane is relatively cheap right now because people think that he's garbage, and plus we're getting an NFL 100, corners coming soon, so people are saving up and trying to do stuff like that. This dude is an unbelievable card. And one of the primary reasons that he's that good is because he causes fumbles by himself. So if you were to upgrade him by giving him lockdown and increasing his zone to a 96, you see his man coverage and everything goes up as well. I wanted to show you his hit power so that you guys could see. He has a 92 hit power. So he's causing fumbles off the rip. You don't even need to click on for him to do it. He's similar to Pat Tillman if you guys are Mutt Masters. So when you go ahead and you add lockdown to him, you turn him into a whole other chemmed out. You see how everything is blue? Those are all the chems. But he needs that lockdown to play the way that he plays. Because if you take it away, if something weird happens with the game where he just, like something's wrong with him. And that's why a lot of you guys thought he was garbage. I gave you guys some gameplay. You see he causes fumble. Now you guys are like, yo, bro, Night Train. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that will increase your team so ridiculously that you're going to be like, yo, wow, dog. It really does matter. It really, adding this extra lockdown, it really does matter. Now, remember, the thresholds, you're looking to get your key players to 95. That's something that you should strive for. Once I get these players to like 95 with anything, they play differently and it's visible. For me, I'm thinking that that's the final level tier of what's going to be happening. Like 95 to 99, more than likely is going to play the same. You got to find that threshold that works for you and go with that. But that's what I'm thinking at this point, because everybody plays different once they get to that 95 threshold. So again, when you're manipulating and trying to upgrade it and get those blues, you'll see that in future videos. Lawrence Taylor, once I get my pass rush up to probably 20, he'll probably go to a 96. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll probably be able to get these upgrades. But it's up to you to make sure you have the fine, the separation. Your corners, lockdown. I go with pass rush because pass rush gives me that extra finesse move, and that is just so key in this game. It's really wild. That finesse move is insane. It's probably more valuable than power move, to be honest. They just get right around the blocks, and it's very, very annoying to your opponent, and we all love it here. Because that's why Julius Peppers, I put him on the outside with the numbers that he has. Like, once we get he's another guy. Once we get his pass rush up, he's gonna get that extra boost. He's gonna be unbelievable as well. You know what I'm saying? So these are just certain things that I want you guys to take a look at. If you have any other questions about it and upgrading your team, let me know exactly what you need to know, and then we'll go from there. But I pretty much gave you all of the gist of it in about 10 minutes, and then I kind of went through it step for step. So regardless of how long you watched, you should have been able to figure out now, okay, I know offensively with my wide receivers, whatever, go deep is based on that, making my guys get off the press, whatever. Your O-line, you should be probably using power run, impact block, lead block. You know that these guys should probably have pass rush, finesse move is OP. Your corners, secondary players should have lockdown. So all of that stuff you should know, but it's also been explained to you as well. All right? I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. Make sure to leave a comment if you have additional questions that you want answered, because I'm doing these videos based on all your feedback. Thank you guys again. Stay blessed. Until next time. One love.